Patrick and Kendall at Pals.
How you doing?
Good. And today is Thanksgiving Eve.
Yep.
In a few minutes, we're going to be cooking some hamburgers and hot dogs and have a big meal for everybody. And we're thankful that you're here, Kendall. And I want to talk to you and kind of give the folks a flavor of who you are and where you came from.
Yeah.
So, where did you grow up?
So I grew up in Hamilton, Ohio, which is just north of Cincinnati, if people aren't familiar with that.
How big a community is Hamilton, Ohio?
Well, let's see, maybe about half the size of Cincinnati, but the big city feel is still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what did your parents do for a living?
So my mom was an administrative assistant with a doctor's office, and my dad, he always worked in different factories.
Different factories. So he was in the manufacturing. He worked inside the factories.
Yep.
Did he belong to a union?
No, it was just your typical company setup.
Okay. And is he still doing that, or is he retired?
No, actually, he's actually moved on, and he's a certified or a registered nurse for hospital.
Is that right? You know, we were just talking to Lester, and his dad became a nurse after the fact as well. So that's interesting.
Yep.
So what or who influenced you to go into car repair?
So I've liked cars since I was little, so backtrack a little bit. The gentleman I was talking about, my dad, he was my stepdad, which I always called him dad.
Mm-hmm.
My father, when I was younger, was doing work on cars and stuff, and that kind of like instrument got me interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I basically reunited with him later in the future, we actually have very, very similar interest and love in cars. So that mostly came from my real father.
So that's probably where the influence came.
Yes.
Now, going through school, did you have any outside jobs, or were you just a student?
So I did have a couple jobs while I was in school. So the last 2 years of high school, I worked at a grocery store. Went from cashier all the way up to running the front office and running that and giving out breaks and allowing people to go to lunch and different things.
Wow.
Then from that, I worked at I had that job during high school. After that, after graduating, I moved to another job.
Moved to another job.
Yeah.
Okay. And what was your first job in the automobile industry?
That would be Goodyear.
Okay.
At one of the Goodyear shops in Pennsylvania. So when I left Ohio to go to UTI for school, automotive school, I went there full time, and then I also worked full time at the Goodyear shop.
So you made a conscious decision and went to UTI, knowing that you're going to have that's what you want your vocation to be.
Yes.
How did you find the schooling at UTI? Was it challenging, or was it just really easy for you?
It was pretty easy, just because UTI they're real good about advertising their information. So I saw the commercial several times, and I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to do it. And my wife was like, "Look, you love it. Just go. We'll just pack up and go do it." So okay, so we did it, and it was a challenging move and challenging living in Pennsylvania a little bit because again, I was working full time and going to school full time, so I wasn't always home. I was barely home. So, but yeah.
So you were married.
Mm-hmm.
You were living in Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
And you decided to go to UTI. Your wife, Tracy, fully supported that move.
Yes.
Okay. So then once you left UTI, where did that lead you?
So after I graduated UTI, a couple years prior to that, we took a family trip to Myrtle Beach. And in Ohio, you have nothing like that there. So seeing the beach is a whole different experience. So, after finishing up school, we were talking like, hey, we're just going to go back to Ohio, and like, we really don't want to go back, so let's look at something in South Carolina. So we wanted to kind of be away from the beach just in case of hurricane issues. So we lived in central South Carolina and Columbia for about 10 years.
About 10 years. Yeah. So then what brought you to Florida?
It's the same instance where we came down to Disney World for a family trip,
Right?
and Florida is like the next step level in like subtropical weather, and so I was like, man, I really like it here. I like it even better here. So we have, of course, more beach options and different things to do here. So I put in a transfer with CarMax, which I was working at the time,
Right?
and transferred down with them to
And
Florida.
transferred down with CarMax to
Yes.
Florida. Okay, so you were able to transfer, and then you came to PALS, and we're certainly glad that you're here. What is your favorite car or truck?
Being a car guy, it's very difficult to have a favorite, but my favorite of all time, just and growing up, even though it wasn't a popular car when it was built, the car is a 1958 Plymouth Fury, the Christine car from the movie.
Okay,
Yeah,
the big wings on the back.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay. So a Plymouth Fury. Okay, and what type of car do you drive now?
So I have a Ford Ranger, and then that's a daily driver. Then I have a F-250. Kind of have an array of vehicles, and it's usually based on something I've known that's it's easy to repair, fast to fix. So the Ford Ranger, the F-250, and then my wife's got a Toyota Sienna and a Honda Accord.
Okay.
Yeah.
And last question.
Yeah.
Who is your hero?
Human wise, I don't know, but maybe it would have to be Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Kendall, we are just absolutely delighted that you're here working with us, and we're going to have a great Thanksgiving. And folks, if you've got a car that needs to be repaired or maintenance done on it, bring it to PALS. See you soon.
Yes.